in terms of the finance minister leading the delegation, if you listen to him carefully in February, he said the consequences are dire.
Yeah.
So it's not even appeared. It's quite clear that he deeply resents having to go and meet the IMF.
Because, well, not having to go to meet the IMF, but having to go to the IMF for a balance of payment program. Because I think we must distinguish the fact that we are members of the fund. In fact, just last year, we took $1 billion from the fund.
Yes.
So it's not about going to meet the fund generally. It's about going for
a balance of payment program. Yes.
Okay. Now, a BOP program comes with some conditionalities.
Yeah.
And a lot of finance ministers all over the world, or in places where finance ministers are just managing the treasury, the ministers for the economy will tell you that whenever you go for these programs that come with conditionalities, they limit your ability to spend on what you consider as your own priorities. And therefore, you find a lot of finance ministers not being in support of that. But when you look at all the data as available to us now and the constraints that we find ourselves in, the fund being requested to come in to support our bigger program is the way to go. And that's why, despite anybody's personal initial views, when the boss calls the shot and gives the instructions, we go.
But the man who sits at the top of the economic decision-making by the president is the Minister of Finance. And I said, and the points he made were not his personal views, because this was official engagement on the e-levy.
Yeah.
And based on the data available to him, he says, we will not go to the IMF for a BOP support. The consequences are dire. We have the capacity.
Yeah.
We are proud people. We can do it ourselves.
Yeah.
Based on all the information available to him.
Yeah.
And as late as a week to this announcement, this was still the position.
Yeah. So 3 things. Actually, the man who sits at the top of economic policy is the president. He takes ultimate responsibility for it. Management on a day-to-day basis, the vice president and the EMT will handle it. Fiscal policy, in particular, income, expenditure, debt management sits with the finance minister. Secondly, the finance minister went on to say in Tamale that, and all that you've said is true, then he says, if only we can speak that one language and burden share. What have been the facts in our effort to get that one language and burden sharing? The facts are that the domestic program that he rolled out in 2021, which was aimed at ensuring that we are able to do this on our own, that domestic program has suffered a number of challenges. And as you look at the challenges that the domestic program has suffered, and you look at the pressures that are continuously building, the man who takes the ultimate responsibilities of the view that, listen, we cannot wait. You need to start talking to the fund. Let's open a window so that with this broad program that you've put out there, even if your domestic resources are gradually ramping up and they are not there yet, we're not caught wanting by the time some of our obligations are due.